Hello everyone, welcome back to the conference. My original video had cut off and it actually did it twice. So I am making this video here to continue the first one. I had started on a second one and then that one cut off, and so I remember I left off on the first one about saying something about protesting. I was saying something about protesting and how the goal should not be to change your enemy's heart. Now, what I mean by that is I look at it this way: unless God intervenes, and this is not probably what I initially said, because to be honest, when I did let me interject this. When I was doing the first conference, I was going on with the conference and I had not even realized that that the conference had stopped. So I lost, I believe I had continued with the conference and I had lost some information that I had, and I can't remember what I said or what was given to me. And so I'm just gonna go with this one. Okay, I just want to convey that. But anyway, I was saying that the goal should not be to change your enemy's heart. I feel like that the goal should be to let me put it this way. You can't walk with the enemy. I don't know initially what I said in my conference before it got cut off, but when I was continuing to talk and I didn't realize that it had cut off. But you can't walk with the enemy. You can't hold hands with the enemy. You can barely live beside the enemy, because if you do, you're going to have difficulty. Now, you guys, what I have before you is a target practice sheet, and I have this target practice sheet up here because one thing you've got to understand is that me personally, I believe target practice is something that your enemies do all the time. So while you all are out, living your lives and enjoying life, your enemies are training against you. And not only you, but anybody else that they feel pose a threat to their establishment. And this is actually my target practice sheet. I actually have a couple of others, and I was, hang on, you guys. I was actually debating which one to put up. And, I really don't have a little board or anything, but I just rigged something. But anyway, yeah, this is your girl. This is my skill right here. And as you can see, I'm a sharp shooter. I'm a very good shooter. And this is my target sheet, as you guys can see. Cause see, your girl don't play. Your girl don't play. And by that I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that, but I'm just saying, you guys, you got to be ready for anything in this world today. And protesting does not work. I mean, what we're living in this day and age is proof that protesting does not work. Now, I just let me think a minute, you guys. See, the thing about this country is when you're trying to stand up against police brutality, injustices, the violation of civil rights and injustices all across the board. The thing is, you're battling your enemy on their territory. It may not legally be theirs because it is stolen property or stolen land, but it is one that they inhabit. It is one that they have confiscated and they inhabit it. And there are a lot of people that have taken this mindset of ownership of the United States. And what I mean by that is, I'm just saying in general, I'm not, but a lot of people feel like, well, because of their ethnicity, that they can do whatever they want. That's the reason why there's police brutality. And no, it's not just directed at the quote-unquote African-American people. But I will say that black people are the primary target of people that, some of the people, it's not everybody, of some of the people that have gone after those types of jobs. And see, the thing that, oh my gosh, I really hate that the rest of that conference got erased, because once when I'm on a roll, I'm on a roll. And then when I have to stop and start back, it's kind of hard for me to get back into the vibe of things. But I will just say this, you guys. Your enemies are very strategic, okay? So the way I'm looking at it, you can't hold hands with your enemies. You can't build with an enemy. That's an enemy. That's an enemy. You can't build with the enemy. You can't march in front of them and think marching. What is marching doing? You're walking, you're protesting, and then what? And then what? Because your enemy is all about taking you out. And until you recognize their strategy, if you have not, you can never beat an enemy at his or her own game. If your enemy had the strategy to join the police force so that they could gain an advantage over you, you young black men out there, you were supposed to be doing the same thing. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm just going to tell it like it is, as I always do. And I'm definitely going to tell it like it is today. Because a lot of people have only sought after those jobs because they were racist or they were affiliated with the Klan, and they knew that by joining that organization, they would have legal backing as it pertains to if they wanted to do something against black folks or any other ethnicity. And what you all were supposed to do is that when they join, you join. When they train, you train. If they're watching you, and I'm just talking about in general, and I'm not talking about the ones that are not the bad folks. I'm talking about the bad folks. That's what I'm talking about, because I would never throw everybody in the same pot. You can't do that because people are individuals. I wouldn't want anybody to throw me in the same pot as, oh, well, that group of females over there or this, that, and the third, and then just assume that I am just because of the color of my skin. No, I'm not. If they're doing something immoral and something that is against my values and my morals, no, I'm not a part of that group at all. Judge me as an individual, I would say. So I judge people according to their individual characters. But I'm just saying there's a lot to be learned about your enemies when you start doing what they do and roll how they roll. Instead of, especially for you younger black men out there, instead of picking up blunts and staying high and screwing one another and not adhering to the morals and the principles of God Almighty and not turning from your evil and wicked ways. See, in some sense, in some way, shape, or form, a lot of the advantages that your enemies have had, I was going to say whoever your enemies are, but we all know who the enemies are of this world in general. And it's not to say it's everybody, no, but the way that you get an advantage over your enemy is that you do what they do. Join what they join. Train, not like they train, but more intensely. No matter what your enemy is doing, you need to go beyond that. Strive to be the best. Strive to surpass. If your enemy can endure certain hardships, you need to be able to endure it even more. You have to have a soldier mentality in this world, or else you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it if you don't have it. And especially in the black community, and this is not directed towards everybody. But instead of a lot of these men, and I know there's some women out there too, but instead of acting like a fool, you should have been training. The men should have been together and every weekend going somewhere to train. And not just, I'm not just talking about black men. I'm talking about anybody that would want to be a part of the cause and stand in defense of people just in case their civil rights were violated. You know, that's one reason why we had the Black Panthers. You know, I remember, I think, seeing a picture of a Black Panther standing at a gas pump while somebody else black was pumping gas to ensure that person's safety. And see, people that oppose people that are melanated, whether they be black or Hispanic or whatever, people want to dismantle organizations like that. You know, and I look at it this way, you know, it takes a collective group of people to build an army, and it's like you've got people out there that just aren't even willing to fight. And even back in the 60s and the 70s, there were people that they probably sat in the comfort of their own homes and fussed and complained, but they didn't get involved. You know, and I just don't see how anything can be accomplished unless everybody is a willing participant. And see, now we're living in a day and age where they have all this advanced technology and warfare and stuff, and the basic American citizens in society don't have access to those things. You know, the tear gas. I mean, we got these little cans of tear gas you can buy. I mean, but come on, y'all. Who's going to go in a dollar store and buy a little can of tear gas against what these folks packing? Come on. You might as well just take that little can of tear gas and put it in your dresser drawer. I'm not trying to be funny, you know, but, you know, you just, you know, I mean, you know, I'm just saying, you guys, come on now. So it's really just going to take the power of God to subdue your enemies. That's really what it's going to take. And I just decided to put this little thing up, you know, just to show you guys. You got people that have been training in this. And it's not to say you guys aren't trained. I know there are some skilled shooters out there. And I'm not telling anybody to go out there and do anything. But I'm saying when you're protesting, your enemies are about this. When you're chanting and saying this and that and the third, your enemies are about this. When you're cursing folks out and doing this, that, and the third, your enemies are about this. When you are sitting in restaurants having your dinner, riding on your sailboats, playing golf, playing basketball, hanging out with the crew, going shopping, going to work, attending college, teaching school, operating a school, sitting at home raising your babies and children, going out to work so your wives can sit at home and take care of your babies, and if you don't have nannies, and you're talking on the cell phones and you're enjoying yourselves on social media and this, that, and the third, and commenting on social media and getting your hair and nails done, and for you fellas, getting your haircuts and all. When you are doing all of that and kikiing and laughing and going to the grocery store and cooking dinner and trying to figure out what you want for dinner, your enemies are doing this. I don't want to say they don't have time to do what you're doing, but I believe the majority of their time is focused on stuff like this. So when you've got somebody, this is probably all they think about. And now all of a sudden, when you realize what they're doing, now you might want to be about it. Who do you think is going to have the upper hand? You can never turn your back on your enemies. I don't care what type of thing you're trying to accomplish in this world. And I know, you know, it's easier said than done. And yes, I do believe in turning the other cheek because it's what God commands. I'm not telling anybody not to do that. I'm basically just talking about the reason why, one of the reasons why perhaps things are the way that they are today. Because you cannot hold hands with the enemy. That's all I can say. You cannot hold hands with the enemy. And no matter how much you might like somebody, you always still need to know that people are going to side with themselves, with their folks, not you. Anybody can be nice. Anybody can kick it. Anybody can be cheerful. Anybody can be funny. Anybody can be humorous. Anybody can go with you out to dinner. Come to your house. Have dinner at your house. Call you friend. Call you comrade. Buy you a Christmas gift. Have come to a party with you or celebrate your birthday. Anybody can do that. An enemy does that all the time. You got to try the spirit. And then a lot of people feel like, well, that in the world that we live in, you feel like your backs are up against the wall because you're like, well, who is the greater evil? Who is the lesser evil? Who is the, you know, who's the greater good? Who's the lesser good? When you feel like you don't have any options, that's basically what I'm saying. And you either have sought or will seek divine counsel. You just got to go with what you feel. And if it does not work out, you just got to give it to God. And if it does work out, you still have got to give it to God. Because no matter how things work out, everything is still in the hands of God.